Ladies and gentlemen, there is a federal tax probe of Hunter Biden, a federal tax probe of the president's son. Now, you would think this would be a huge story, considering that emails that I talked about in a segment prior to this one point to clear violations of the law. You cannot promise or discuss preferential treatment or favors or influence on behalf of another company when your father is the vice president of the country. And then when your father, eventually the president, mashed potato brains, says, well, I didn't know anything about Hunter's business dealings. I had no clue at all. There are pictures, but there are also endless emails. There's a trove of emails showing that the president, our current wonderful president, leading us into a recession like I said he would. Remember on this channel, I told you, mashed potato brains is going to head us right into a recession. We're going to see a stock market crash, unfortunately. But you cannot, ladies and gentlemen, promise or discuss favors, influence, if you are related to a high-level government official and enrich yourself through business transactions where the people who are paying you money, whether it's people in other countries or even foreign competitors or geopolitical adversaries, are paying you money for preferential treatment or to enrich themselves or for you to utilize your family name to help them out. One of the emails says, how can you use your influence on behalf of the company? And then another one of those emails says he gives 10% of a deal to his father, Joe. And then a bunch of those emails talk about how James and Hunter are hooking Joe up with money through business deals and connections and their family name. That is not legal, okay? That you've broken the law when you are using you've broken the law when you're using your name, a government position, to enrich yourself. That's not rocket science. The issue we have, ladies and gentlemen, is that there's a New York Post article. This is just one of many scandals. There were 150 transactions, 150 bank transactions that were deemed concerning or that perhaps broke protocol between James, Joe's brother, and Hunter. But here, this is $54 million. This is unbelievable. $54 million in gifts donated to UPenn, home of Biden Center. Okay? This is interesting. Hit subscribe, by the way, to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very interesting story. A government watchdog is demanding the U.S. attorney probing Hunter Biden in Delaware. This is a federal tax probe right now going on. Investigate tens of millions in anonymous donations from China to the University of Pennsylvania, where an academic center is named for his father. Okay, the president, the Ivy League college raked in a total of $54.6 million from 2014 through June 2019 in donations from that country, including $23.1 million in anonymous gifts starting in 2016. Okay, this didn't happen with Trump. None of this, the millions upon millions of dollars exchanging hands, that didn't happen with Trump and other countries. And emails saying, how can you use your influence on behalf of the company? Okay? It's right there within an endless trove of emails. What takes place is the emails point to the DNC cheating Bernie Sanders. Then Democrats and media say, oh my God, it's another country that wants you to know Trump is benefiting from another country wanting you to know how corrupt Democrats are. They're doing the same thing here. They did the same thing with Hunter. Then they get social media algorithms to block Hunter Biden's emails. The issue, ladies and gentlemen, is the following. and hit subscribe to this channel. We're almost at 196,000 subs, ladies and gentlemen. Tell your friends about this channel. Read my article in The Federalist telling you about, in October of 2021, I told you we'll have a stock market crash, recession, and all of these problems. Read that article. And we're heading towards, unfortunately, a devastating stock market crash. You have a derivatives nightmare out there. You have so many, I discuss it within the article in The Federalist. Okay, you have trillions of dollars in risky derivatives. One hedge fund, Archegos, went under last year. Okay, there were other hedge funds that had huge problems. GameStop. They're in a worse position right now. We can go, I talk about it in the Federalist article. The United States government doesn't know how much debt these hedge funds have, and really doesn't know how much debt all these equities and derivatives were purchased on margin. They really don't understand how much debt is in the system. And then we have a system that's collapsing. We have inflation through the roof. We have debt that it's astronomical. We have no clue. So I explained that in the Federalist article below in the pinned comment. But this is just an example of $54 million in gifts. The Ivy League college raked in $54.6 million, okay, from 2014 to 2019, and $23.1 million in anonymous gifts in 2016. Most of the anonymous donations came after the university announced in February 2017 it would create the Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy and Global Engagement. Joe, whose term as vice president had just ended, was to lead the center. So why were they anonymous? The Ivy League University received $15.8 million in anonymous Chinese gifts that year. And then you could say, well, all of this money flowing through Joe and Hunter and James and into universities and all that. Gee, you ever wonder why we couldn't talk about the origins of you-know-what? Okay, so they're always quick to say, well, you can't prove anything, and then they accuse Trump of being in a hotel room because a dossier that Clinton purchased says he was in a hotel room. So they don't judge Trump in the same way they shield themselves from allegations of corruption, okay? They want categorical, absolute proof. When you see the money trail right there, you see the emails right there, you see everything pointing to unethical, disgusting, corrupt behavior that is illegal, where they're enriching themselves because they've promised access, influence, just the perception that another country would benefit, or another billionaire or corporation would benefit. Then you have Joe forcing out a prosecutor in a country that's being invaded, that's suffering greatly under his tenure. Ever wonder why all of these terrible geopolitical consequences, quagmires, horrible geopolitical catastrophe taking place in Europe right now, recession we're going into, food shortages, inflation through the roof? Why is this happening when the adults are in charge? It's because they silence, suppress, and marginalize and try to just basically erase any debate and discussion. Now you're talking about U.S. Intel says that the Kremlin's going to interfere yet again. Everything is when you hear U.S. Intel, just think extension of the Democratic Party most of the time. When you heard U.S. Intel, when you heard John Ratcliffe speak, it was just a Trump loyalist. So just see how when you hear U.S. Intel, it's always about some kind of narrative that Democrats can point to say, you see, another person wanted you to hear about the corruption within our political party. But here, in its 12-page complaint, the watchdog cited a 2017 text found on Hunter's laptop that CEFC, China Energy Company, one of the firms that Hunter had a financial stake in, wanted to lobby politicians in the U.S. but did not want to register under the Foreign Agent Registration Act required by. So we don't want to have to register as foreign agents. It's much more expensive than people should know. So here you have people asking for favors, and they're getting favors. I mean, this was Uranium One. The New York Times broke that story, talked about that story at least. That was the last time the New York Times was even somewhat objective. It was in 2015. And even the Nuclear Regulatory Commission said, yeah, this is bad. And President Obama did not veto the sale. Gee, you think maybe it had something to do with money into the foundation and Clinton being the Secretary of State at the time? But see, there's no correlation there. But 7 hours of phone conversations that are not there, oh, Trump deleted them. Then they find out, yeah, it was just landlines and cell phones. They jump to conclusions with Trump. They want absolute categorical proof, even though you see, I mean, it's right there. The corruption, the illegal behavior, it's right there within Hunter's emails. It's right there. And then you have tens of millions of dollars in donations, including anonymous donations. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. This is just one story pertaining to Hunter. They're like endless, and Joe will be impeached. We have Senate. You have the Senate and the House that'll be Trump Republicans. They'll definitely impeach Joe Biden. Give me your thoughts. Thank you.